Hey, everyone. Okay, so I'm going to label this next one starting off in 1977. Now, by then, okay, I was very much exposed to the social sciences as an introduction, okay? I know them very, very well, okay? Now, let me backtrack a little here, okay? By the time 1975, 1976, I was continuing to go through those backyards, but I was ready to outgrow that, okay? I continued to go through the Coles backyard, okay, thousands and thousands of times. She was still going and getting the meat and food that was thrown out that was so perfectly good. This woman... but botanical, wonderful people, the Coles. I can't overemphasize that. Highly influential on me. One of the most influential neighbors in my childhood. Wayne J. Cole, a chemist, a renowned scientist. Truly. Yes. Governor Walker. Thoroughly honest. And a graphic artist of the rock band, of major rock bands, Backyard Neighbor, long gone. Okay, we're talking about 1976, and by 1977, somewhere in there, I got my driver's license. So that bike was about to be utilized in a different context than when my dad got it for me in 7th grade at 10-speed, okay? Very important for me to share this. I began learning about Highland Park, Deerbrook Mall. I was able to travel to different areas. I didn't know very much about Lake Forest or Highland Park yet. That was going to be in the next decade, though, okay? Success at the highest level. Yeah, honestly. In 1977, let me fully disclose this, I grew up very quickly and took on some social science aspects where I've become highly developed in doing a tremendous amount of research, learning all about the social sciences, among many other sectors. I sure have become a lifelong learner. It put me on the master's and PhD substance. I excelled in electronics with straight A's. Okay? But see, when I was 17, there was a day in November I came home. Okay? My grandmother had passed away by then. I'm not sure exactly the year. 1975, I was 15. Okay? My grandfather, I'll go into that further. I'll touch upon that the best I can. He's still alive. He lived for another decade. Okay, I came home in 1977 when I was 17, and I had. Let me mention, I was never bullied ever, and there were some burnouts. That's what it was called. Okay, burnouts. Look it up. I don't know if you know that definition, but that's what I know it as. And they were messing around. And they took my calculator, they threw it out the bus. I've never been bullied. I think because I was so strong, you know. And yeah, I was building on curiosity. Okay, let me say this much. I came home in November 1977 one day. The family room door to the garage was open. I smelled the smell throughout the house. I didn't have the slightest clue of anything because everything was quite a bit different than I had ever experienced. My mother usually got home just about 4:20. She didn't. She finally came home around 6:30. I didn't know what happened. I was literally shocked. I didn't know what happened at 17. We went out to dinner, Okay? She explained to me something I never knew. It was the first time in my life, and she said something had gone on over the years. My father tried to commit suicide. I'm 17. Okay? Took a couple of days for that to sink in. Oh, I interpreted grown-up stuff real quick as far as social sciences. Sure laid the foundation for me to do some research and build on curiosity in the future and validate all that. It was growing up very quickly, and believe me, this is something that, with your friends, very much personal. Okay? After a couple of days, it finally sunk in. These guys kept messing with me, bullying me. Just a couple of days. They were just messing around. I mean, it was nothing. It was nothing. And I let them out and let them have it. Only one time. I'm a very laid back, very stable, extremely fortunate. The personal development on me at an exceptionally high level. And that was about to follow for another 30 years too, almost, at the highest possible level, in the healthiest context. Extremely fortunate. And everything was dealt with appropriately. Only one time, completely rational to the situation. I saw my father. I think that's when it happened. When I saw him a couple of days later, I saw something I had no resemblance to what my father had been for my entire life. He wanted out forever. That's when it happened. A couple of days after that. My mother, eventually things, resolved themselves. And I had quite a spurt of learning about the social science health very early on life, at age 17. And I learned about everything. Now, it was traumatic. I do have to say, I continued to excel in electronics. Straight A's. Okay? I graduated Deerfield High School. Had wonderful parents. Wonderful parents. My childhood is normal. But I've become highly developed. Very early age. Extremely fortunate. Very, very fortunate for what followed over the next almost 30 years. It's quite an asset to me. Let me say that the transition between, a teenager and independence growing up, I'm sure, okay? I'm sure everyone goes through it, and it's very personal within the family. And my parents were fantastic parents. They did everything they could. Okay? I don't know exactly what happened in my father's background, but when I look at what he achieved, I understand he was losing a sector of his expertise, and there were adjustments as far as technology within his sector is what he was experiencing. We should have, but my parents did talk about it. That they did in the living room, okay? They did, and I didn't know anything about the past or of anything. I just know that I had great parents, and whatever happened, my parents were very appropriate in that respect. They knew my limitation as far as my age, There was a trespass there, okay? And, I continued to make a transition into adulthood. Very loving parents. No family is absolutely perfect. You have absolutely perfect, you're very fortunate. But what I understand is I am most fortunate. I chose a sector I didn't know in the future would get outsourced. Eventually, I didn't know it. I didn't understand that. And now, if I would have known, I would have immediately gotten an air conditioner refrigeration, because what I was able to achieve in these future updates I'm about to share with you. Okay, I had normal, loving parents in every aspect, and I'm the one who decided. I'm the one, okay, that came to a complete understanding. The most is individual counseling. And that was it. I have a full understanding exactly what happened. My parents were very loving. They were the best normal. Okay? And so I need to respect the individual's name that I saw. And I certainly want to respect this, because what I'm about to share now, closer to present-day form, is in a completely different context. I'm going to advance here about 30 years what happened here, okay, very soon, as I continue to disclose my background. I began working at a television shop. I had jobs like everybody else did. And I'm not going to say perfect, okay, because there are years, a year here and there that, but I did make the transition to adulthood very well, okay. 12 minutes. Let me take that up to 1983 from 1977, okay. Now I'm skipping past a whole lot of information, which is retrievable, and I want to keep this focused head on. I'm working with a time restraint here. I understand that I had fantastic parents, and I now understand exactly what happened. Fully out in the open, complete understanding. Okay? I didn't know it until I learned it. And I have tremendous social science research. I've researched bachelor's and master's, probably close enough to PhD, in a very wide spectrum of expertise. Okay? Electronics, maybe a little business, social sciences. I've read a ton. I'm used to master's and PhD substance, and somehow I only graduated in high school with a GPA of 1.7, but yet if you meet me, it would all be equivalent to a master's. That building on curiosity was the most fortunate aspect my parents shared with me. It's lifelong, ingrained, and it is fully validated as normal. Now, that happened a decade later, and I'm going to share that with you now so you really do get to know me well. Well, yes, when we're kids and we make the transition into, an independence and adulthood, sure. I don't know the sector well. I've had very little experience externally. Okay, it's very personal. And I understand it should all be in the healthiest context. And for me, it's very healthy. Not perfect, but as close as it gets. I'm the one who now understands exactly what happened. I don't understand the logic of those choices, why it wasn't dealt with. I certainly do. I do not understand that. I do not understand that. I just know that my parents were fantastic, and I come from I'm very fortunate with what they've given me and shared with me. It can't get much better. It's the best. Marion Cole came down with cancer. I continued to go over and see Wayne J. Cole, but there was a very significant shift from about age 17, and I'm going to go up to 23 here, age 23, 1983. Okay, how much more time do we got? That's plenty. Let me conclude this at 17 through 23. So everyone goes up to college, begins working a career, and that's exactly what's true about me. Okay, it was quite a transitionary period, and it certainly is for the parents too. I've read a lot about that kind of stuff. I've learned it, experienced it. Not only me, just building on curiosity. I am definitely considered very intelligent. I'm very, very fortunate coming with the background that I come from. Only the highest level of honesty, integrity, the healthiest context. Only. And I'm very effective at taking responsibility for myself in that respect, and I did. I'm going to share this a little bit further to explain it. My mother continued on giving me a hand and supporting me. That's where the real success was able to be achieved. Very, very fortunate. Very. She gave me so much. My parents gave me so much. That's, for the most part, is normal. Not perfect, but as good as it gets. It can't be much better than that. I'm extremely fortunate. So I'm ready now to touch upon that a little bit further in depth. Okay, but I'm going to label this age 17 through 22. Okay, thank you. Thank you for investing the time in understanding me much better of who I am. I am very fortunate, but the most fortunate aspect was just around the corner, and I want to share that and give that away to you. Thank you very much for learning about me.